Good evening, Louise, and welcome to XTV's news broadcast for Monday, November 4, 2024. Making the headlines tonight, the government to raffle $1 million for 1 year anniversary. The BDF commandant says soldiers are not immune to briberies. Shamar Foster wins constitutional claim against the police department, and taxi driver fatally stabbed while socializing in Belize City. We take our first break and return with the news in detail. BGLL has announced a one-time raffle of $1 million for its one-year anniversary in December. BGLL is calling the raffle Game 1 and a million anniversary jackpot. Tickets went on sale for $5 today at all BGLL sub-agents countrywide. Sales will end on Friday, December 20 at 9 p.m. The drawing is set for Saturday, December 21st at 10 a.m. Buyers are to choose a 4-digit sequence similar to the jackpot. If there is more than one winner, BGLL says the prize winnings will be shared among all winners. The prize must be collected at the BGLL office in Belmopan starting on December 23. Tickets will only be valid for 30 days after the drawing date. The government reported in August that after 8 months it had made $72 million in gross revenue from sales, or a whopping $9 million per month from government lotteries. The estimated annual profit is over $16 million. In a recent local media report, it was determined that soldiers operating in remote areas in the south are being bribed by illegal Guatemalan loggers seeking to extract forest produce from the Columbia Forest Reserve. The reports were made against patrol commanders at the Machaquila Observation Outpost, but on Friday, the commander of the Belize Defense Force said it is rogue officers and they are investigating.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, just to answer your question. Whenever other security forces are operating in the area here, aren't they bribed? You see, we are not immune to these things. The BDF, we are not immune. What we need to continue to do is to supervise, and that is what we are doing. We because of the constant patrolling in that area, we increase our patrols responding to the illegal logging reports that we got. And because of that, we kind of bumped into Guatemalans. The Guatemalans, we have it on recording, and I believe that it has been leaked to the media too as well. That is part of our investigation. And as part of our investigation, we more or less know now that the Guatemalans are bribing our patrol commanders, and that is something that is being finalized, and it will be coming in front of me for disciplinary procedures.
Okay, so do you concede that the reason why BDF soldiers are accepting bribes by Guatemalan loggers is because when they pay too cheap, the government paid them too cheap?
No, the pay is average at this point in time.
But appropriate or average?
It is average, it is appropriate, we can survive. You know, the cost of living is going up, but that is another discussion. But can we survive on that pay? Yes, we could. We could survive. It's more than 1,000 soldiers that are getting paid, and there will be the elements, the bad guys there, that are going to come and try to extort, to bribe. If persons come, bribe, more than there are some that will take it, others that will not. They say, no, I am being taught in my force about the virtues and the values that we espouse.
Yeah.
So all the briberies, the bribes, alleged bribes, is not everybody is getting bribed. It's only 1 or 2 commanders, rogue commanders. And I'm telling you that we are going to look at it disciplinarily.
But I understand that that investigation has been expanded to include other CPs, not only the Machaquila.
Yes, and we are looking at other CPs too as well. It is not happening at the other CPs, but it's just as a precautionary measure, and in order for us to supervise properly.
Separately, it was also reported that the command on the ground in Machaquila decided to release a handful of Guatemalan detainees who had been held for different violations back in September. Information suggests that the decision was taken after the BDF were surrounded by another set of Guatemalans.
No, That is not protocol. The commander has to ensure that he relays the information to his command, to his battalion command, for a decision to be made. I will leave it at there because that is the same situation that is under investigation at this point in time.
Yeah, but then, from what I understood in the report I've read, is that communication was severed with Fair Weather Camp because the communication could not sync, or they could not communicate the development in that incident back to Fair Weather Camp.
That is under investigation at this point in time. That is under all I can say is that they have a primary means of communication, a secondary means of communication, cell phones that work in some parts of the area. Like 200 meters west of the OP, cell phones work. So it is under investigation, and I don't want to compromise it, because that will come in front of me.
Is the communication system at the BDF outdated?
No, we recently got quite an amount of radios from the Kabay funds. So there are brand new radios at all the observation posts.
Shamar Foster, the Sadie Vernon High School student and tour guide who was assaulted during a search by police at the Belize City Municipal Airstrip in April 2022, has won his constitutional claim against the police department. He was awarded vindicatory damages in the sum of $20,000. Additionally, he is to be paid compensation in the sum of $5,000 for the physical violence and humiliation he experienced. At the time, he was accompanying a group of tourists to the islands. The officers became aggressive toward Foster when he questioned why he was being searched. When he took out his cell phone to record the search, one of the officers violently knocked it out of his hand. High Court Justice Martha Alexander declared that the search that police conducted on Foster on April 1, 2022 was in breach of his constitutional rights, as it was disproportionate and excessive. Significantly, she also declared that preventing him from recording the search constituted a breach of his fundamental right to protection of the law and freedom of expression. Foster was represented by attorney Leslie Mendez. He was also awarded costs. Notably, the judge did not award the remedies sought regarding the work of the Professional Standards Branch, though she admitted that the process may be flawed given that Foster was not notified of progress and did not get called on to be a part of the entire process. She deemed that it is an internal disciplinary mechanism and cannot adjudicate unconstitutional breaches. A taxi driver identified as 42-year-old Sean Ortiz Campbell succumbed a couple hours after being stabbed to the chest early Sunday morning. He had been socializing with Ashton Lewis at an establishment on Jaguar Avenue located off Fabers Road in Belize City. Upon leaving sometime after 3 a.m., they got into a physical altercation with a group of men. ACP Gilberto Romero said police are seeking 3 suspects.
On Sunday, the 30th of November 2024, police responded to a stabbing incident at Jaguar Avenue in Belize City. Upon arrival, police learned that the victim had been taken to the KHMH for treatment. Police visited the KHMH where they found Sean Ortiz with stab wound injuries, and he was pronounced dead on arrival. Investigation revealed that Sean Ortiz was involved in a fight in the area of Jaguar Avenue with other persons, one of whom inflicted the fatal stab injuries to him. We are seeking 3 suspects in regards to this report.
Any motive to what led to the fight?
We don't have a motive at this time. They were all involved in the fight at Jaguar Avenue.
In other news, late Friday, the National Trade Union Congress of Belize, NTUCB, in a very brief statement notified that members of its executive council met with Prime Minister John Bersenio along with the Minister of Public Service, Constitutional and Political Reform and Religious Affairs, Honorable Henry Usher. While the NTUCB only said several national issues were discussed and that the meeting was amicable and fruitful, the Prime Minister on his Facebook page reported that the sides discussed multiple matters. Among them, he listed the OSH bill, representation of the KHMHA Workers Union on the hospital's board, the committee for the special purpose vehicle set up to oversee the construction of 2 government office buildings, amending the Finance and Audit Reform Act, Starlink, the Auditor General post, and hiring and appointments in the judiciary. After the break, allowance is approved for soldiers in the field and 2 men die in separate road traffic accidents. Stay with us. Welcome back. The news continues. Soldiers who operate in the field are now being compensated with jungle and bush allowance. Commander of the Belize Defense Force, Brigadier General Azariel Loria, shared that they have been working on a review regarding salaries and allowances.
It's about a month ago. We got a table that we needed to fill up with information from the Joint Compensation and Classification Committee or unit. That has been done, and our salaries is being reviewed at the moment, and it's not only for the BDF but also for Coast Guard. And also I believe that there were some allowances approved to the air wing pilots and to the whole of the BDF for us to start to draw jungle and bush allowances. So it is something that the government is looking into, and I know that with this, with the level of cooperation that we are having from government, it is something very positive that all of us are looking into and seeing the results.
Essentially a pay increase, not an adjustment or revision, a pay increase.
No, it's not a pay increase. We're not getting a pay raise. It's only it's an adjustment where we're looking in ways in which our pay scale could be adjusted because of that minimum wage that came into.
Commander Loria says they need body cameras for their patrols in the field to ensure that they have real-time evidence of events that may occur on the ground. Currently, the commander of the BDF cannot track the live location of soldiers, but Loria says they are looking into acquiring the technology that would allow for this.
We are in the process of purchasing those. So up to now, the movements, no. And we're in the process of purchasing our satellite phones with the assistance of the Central Bank of Belize. We're forming a partnership so that we could at least equip the most remote areas, be it Cadenas, Machakila, and Rio Blanco, Saibo Chico, with those type of equipment. So in the event of any emergency, they can communicate. And we are going to get those tracking devices. But we're finding means, and it's not only tracking devices, but we are in the era now that we need body cameras to ensure that whatever if they meet Guatemalans, that we get the precise information back to camp. So that is where we want to go now.
And not edited videos submitted to the High Command.
Sorry?
And not edited videos submitted to the High Command in terms of capturing the interaction with the Guatemalans.
The High Command, we get whatever we get from patrols. If the patrols want to edit the video on the ground, there is very little that we can do about it. But what we want from the body cams is to try to get the information live as possible.
A fatal road traffic accident occurred on the road to San Felipe in the Orange Walk district on Saturday night. According to police, 28-year-old Elias Kawa was driving his motorcycle but lost control and crashed. Kawa was transported to the Northern Regional Hospital but succumbed to his injuries. ACP Gilberto Romero provided more details.
On Saturday, the 2nd day of November, there was a fatal road traffic accident at San Felipe village in the Orange Walk district. Police visited the area where they saw the lifeless body of Elias Kawa. Beside him there was a motorcycle with extensive damages. Investigation revealed that Elias Kawa was driving his motorcycle when he lost control and fell to the street, causing his fatal injuries.
Prior to that motorcycle accident in the north, there was another road traffic accident near Trio Village in the Toledo district. Investigations revealed that a motorcyclist identified as Tomas Cal was traveling on the Thomas Vincent Ramos Highway when he collided with a pickup truck, resulting in his death. The father of four, a carpenter, was returning home from Placencia, where he worked. On Sunday night, before 9 in Hattieville, Belize District, 24-year-old Kenroy Lanza was reportedly stabbed by his brothers-in-law following a domestic dispute with his common-law wife. Reportedly, they were all hanging out before the dispute occurred. ACP Gilberto Romero said the common-law wife is in custody as the investigation continues.
On Sunday, the 30th of November 2024, police visited Hattieville village where information received is that Kenroy Lanza had received stab wound injuries. He was rushed to the KHMH where he is presently admitted in a critical condition. Investigation revealed that Kenroy Lanza had a domestic dispute with his girlfriend and she alerted her brothers, who then came. There was a fight between them which resulted in Lanza being stabbed. We have the female in custody and we are seeking the other two brothers at this time.
Sir, could you explain the rationale behind detaining the victim of domestic abuse?
An investigation is being carried out and we have to verify certain information, and at the end of the investigation we will determine who will be charged. This is an open investigation at this time.
Belize City and Belmopan have joined the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy GCOM in the Caribbean region. In 2018, Belmopan became the first city to join from the Caribbean. Representatives from GCOM are in Belize for 3 days to help the Belize City Council develop a climate action plan. Mayor Bernard Wagner explained the importance of this and how being part of the GCOM can aid the city.
This mission will seek to do is to have work along with our technical people here at the City Council to develop our climate action plan. For many cities, if you don't have a climate action plan, there is no clear direction on how you want to go. And you speak about the flooding of streets, all the coastal erosion that is occurring, but all of these are as a result of the impact of climate change. And what this climate action plan does is focusing on your mitigation strategy and your adaptation strategy in clear goals, clear objectives that will contribute to the reduction of those same things that you spoke about in respect to flooding, in respect to coastal erosion. And that is the essence of developing this climate action plan. And I'm so happy that GCOM, we're now a member of GCOM, will enable us to really build synergies with other common cities all across the globe that faces the same issues.
Daniela Montero, the International Relations Assistant for GCOM in the Americas, explained how they are able to assist cities like Belize and how funds can be accessed for climate change related projects.
We will be working on how to get a successful climate action plan and doing the GCOM methodology in each of those days. Also presenting the CDP/ICLAI tracking platform so that you can report and get able to see the platform beforehand. So we'll do all of the necessary instructions and do the technical support we're here to do. So the Global Covenant in Americas is funded by the European Union, and we do provide that technical support. We don't provide directly the funding. However, once you get a climate action plan, once you get project, and once you get recognized as an important city, as a city that has relevant local actions in climate change, we do facilitate the access to funding opportunities, and we give visibility to the city, and we usually try to invite, as we have invited before, Belize City's representatives to international events. So you get that coverage, you get out there that you are interested in climate change, you're interested in doing the work, in putting the hours. So the chances of getting a project funded are a little bit better. Also, within this climate action plan, when you report to the tracking platforms, we validate you internationally.
After the break, we'll have part 2 of our special feature, an update on Belize's gillnet ban. Stay tuned. part 2 of our Gillnet ban update. Please note that the story will now be aired in 5 parts, not 4 as originally indicated. In February 2018, Oceana and the Coalition got the government of Belize GOB to establish the Gillnet Task Force, which included officials from the Fisheries Department and members of the Coalition, as well as people who opposed the ban. It was an uphill battle, and in November that year, Coalition member the Belize Federation of Fishers, BFF, accused the government of dragging its feet on implementing a phased-out ban, given that the task force had only met once. Eventually, the process would culminate in SI number 158 of 2020, gazetted on November 5, just 6 days before that year's general elections. The SI banned the use of gill nets in Belize's internal waters, territorial sea and exclusive economic zone. Before the ban, the maximum length of nets permissible on a boat in those waters was a total 300 meters, whether individually or joined. The maximum mesh size was 3 inches. Gillnet licenses cost Belize $25, and licenses were not required to get Gillnet tags upon registration. Violations carried a fine of Belize $500 or imprisonment of up to 6 months or both. While working toward the ban, Oceana had to submit a Freedom of Information Act FOIA request to source from the Fisheries Department the list of licensed gillnet users, which they had previously refused to provide despite repeated requests for over 3 years. From the department's information, Oceana established that at no point were there more than 90 licensed gillnet users from 2015 to 2018, a mere 3.3% of registered small-scale fishers. They expected a much higher figure, but knew there was extensive opportunistic use by illegal fishers. The data also showed that not all fishers were consistent in obtaining gillnet licenses every year. In a 2019 study by Valentino Schall, commissioned by Turniff Atoll Trust, TAT, it was reported that the total number of illegal Belizean gillnet fishers and the quantity of gillnets in existence was unknown. Through the FOIA request, Oceana in Belize additionally uncovered a questionable enforcement irregularity. Here is Vice President Janelle Chanona speaking May 2019.
Some fishers in 2017 obtained tags for 10 nets. Some obtained tags for 20 nets, which means that they were, as a matter of course, led to believe that they could have more than 2,000 meters of nets in use at any one time.
Schall indicated in his study that gillnet licenses from 2015 to 2018 almost doubled, going from 42 to 83, but that the registered length in meters of net dropped significantly from 233,077 meters to 70,550 meters, apparently, quote, due to stricter compliance with allowable length of nets registered by the Fisheries Department, end quote. According to the breakdown by Schall, the majority of gillnet fishers were based in Dangriga, Punta Gorda, Independence, and Belize City. There was a 3-pronged approach to the gillnet ban. It included a review of local and international scientific research, a gillnet survey for public input, and engagement of the licensed gillnet fishers about transitioning away from gillnets. Before the introduction of the ban, both Oceana and the Coalition had to secure signed transition agreements from licensed gillnet fishers that they would switch to viable alternative forms of livelihood. The transition funds totaled Belize $2 million, $1 million each from the Coalition and Oceana, who were described in the 16-page commitment agreement with government, dated August 20, 2020, as the gillnet ban sponsors. Dr. Percival Cho was the Chief Executive Officer in the Fisheries Ministry at the time of the ban and chaired the Gillnet Task Force.
And those transition agreements were submitted to us. I recall those. So there's a file in the ministry somewhere where these transition agreements are kept. And we obviously verified how many persons signed. There was a verification process, and that's when we were satisfied that the threshold was met. And then we advised Cabinet we could go ahead and institute the ban.
Once all eligible fishers signed a transition agreement and a gillnet license and buyback agreement, the ban was instituted with immediate effect. Importantly, the Belize Fishermen Cooperative Association (BFCA) at the end of 2020 applied for leave for judicial review to challenge the ban, but was denied. They had argued that there was no proper consultation or inclusion of their members. However, they did not find favor with the judge. The BFCA's membership comprises the different fisheries cooperatives to whom fishers sell their products. In other news, 115 recruits, including 15 women, concluded the rigorous training to enter the Belize Defence Force as Intake 67. Over 300 signed up for the training, which began on June 30. Several top performers were honored in various categories at the ceremony held at the Sir Colville Young Parade Square. Jeffrey Paredes and Naomi Baki were recognized as champion recruits, while Kieran Cal and Giselle August were awarded for excelling in physical training. The championship title went to Nixon Cook, and Michael Palacio was praised for his outstanding drill skills. The training has helped to equip the recruits with skills they will need for challenges they will face as soldiers. They were trained in weapon handling and small unit tactics, among other skills. Brigadier General Azariel Loria, the commander of the force, explained changes they made to the recruiting process.
This is the second intake in which we have changed the qualifications or the criteria for the participants to come and join the ranks. We upped the educational qualification. We are no longer asking for a primary school diploma, we're asking for a high school diploma. The recruits, they assimilated the material very quickly, but there are some aspects in which they couldn't perform that well, in which was the physical injuries, ankle injuries, knee injuries, and sometimes back injuries. But all in all, that was the struggle. It was injuries, minor injuries. We have been given authority to recruit 120 recruits for the next 5 or 7 years, and so far we have only recruited 240 recruits, so we have quite a bit more to go, and perhaps next year we'll see how we can convince the government to give us another intake, or perhaps a double intake of more than 120 soldiers.
In court news, a mother of 4, Sharima Neal, was freed Friday of a murder charge after High Court Justice Candice Nanton determined that the evidence from the Crown did not prove her guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Neal had been accused of the 2016 stabbing death of 17-year-old Jasmine Petillo over 50 times in Mahogany Heights village. She was not arrested until 2021 and was given bail because she was 8 months pregnant. The 2-day trial concluded in September. In her ruling Friday, Justice Nanton indicated that there were glaring discrepancies from the main witness, who was unable to identify Neal. Also, DNA analysis using samples from the scene only showed a partial match. The results were not returned until 5 years later. Police suspected that Petillo's death was revenge for the murder of Desmond Usher, Neal's boyfriend, a year before. The last person believed to have placed a phone call to Usher. That's a good one. What is wrong with B-E-L? Huh?